Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of BBP News. Nicholas Rod here, Chris Baker here with you on this Monday morning. We have made it back, and let's start it off like we always do. Chris, give us the weather.
In Los Angeles, California, it is sunny and 89. In Houston, Texas, it is partly cloudy, 94. Chicago, Illinois, partly cloudy, 80. In New York City, there are scattered thunderstorms with a high of 88.
So we have successfully made it back from our 1 week break. And as you heard, we have now officially become BBP News. So that's big news in itself, coming back here for our intro here. Wouldn't you say?
Yes. Yep.
Did it feel as weird to you to hear me say it like that, to say the new name, as it did for me to say it?
Oh, absolutely. At first, I was about to correct you and be like, what the hell? No, we haven't changed yet, Nick, but indeed we have. We've changed.
Yes, we've changed. We've got the new name. We've got the new setup. And honestly, it feels pretty good.
I like it. I think we got big things coming, continuing to figure things out, but it's new, exciting. Change is good, people.
Yeah, but we haven't been here since last Friday with an update on everything, of our lives. So besides the rebranding and everything like that, what's been going on with you, Chris?
Absolutely nothing.
Ain't that exciting?
Besides, picking vegetables out of the garden, nothing.
What kind of vegetables?
Nothing new.
What kind of vegetables are we talking?
Oh, I took a coffee can home full of little cherry tomatoes.
Okay.
Bunch of regular full-size tomatoes, cucumbers, summer squash, spaghetti squash, bell peppers, cucumbers, zucchini. The eggplant isn't ready yet, but there's a few eggplants coming.
Oh, wow. Getting fancy with it.
The only thing that did not grow this year, and I'm not going to lie, I'm completely okay with it, is beets. Not a single beet came.
Yeah, I'm not really a huge beet person either, so I wouldn't be weeping over the lack of beets.
But, we're not even into the winter, and we're already planning the garden for next year, so that's what I've been doing.
Oh, that's always exciting. No, I love fresh vegetables. We are getting into this morning with a hot start. But I love fresh vegetables, and I especially love fresh cucumbers. They're so good. There was one point, my grandma had a vegetable garden. She used to grow a few different things, and I would take home fresh cucumbers, and sometimes I would eat them right out of the garden, like take them out of the garden, immediately eat them. So good.
That's
Same
what
with
I've been doing
beans.
with the cherry tomatoes.
Yeah, beans are another one that are just absolutely amazing out of the garden.
Yep, we're going to be growing green beans next year. We're going to add another fence thing for the cucumbers because, fun fact, if you grow vegetables, you know that cucumbers, they grow out, and they'll grow out of control and overtake everything. But if you build a fence, and once they start growing, you put one of the stems around the fence, it will grow right up the fence. And the same thing with green beans. So we're going to put another fence thing on the other side and grow the green beans right up there.
Little gardening tips from Chris Baker here.
What can I say? I have multiple titles.
Yeah, you got Master Chef, Master Gardener, Landscaper. We'll have to come up with a few more for you here because I'm sure we can come up with others.
Oh, 100%.
But not much has happened for me. Spent this weekend at the fair. Went on Friday, had some good fair food, had some really good French fries on Friday, and they were honestly the best fries I've had in quite some time. I don't even know the last time I've had fries that were that good, but they were nice and crispy and very potatoey and just Could eat so many of those, as well as had a couple sugar fritters, which are also really good. Doesn't get more fair like than just covering fried dough in a bunch of sugar and calling it a day. But those are really good, and I got to watch the tractor pulls and a little bit, things you do as a country boy. So that was a lot of fun. Went on Sunday as well, for breakfast and hung out into the afternoon. And it was a good weekend. Other than that, not really a whole lot. We're getting close to the start of college. And so I'm just kind of mentally preparing myself for that.
Well, while Nick's talking about all those great and exciting things, and no one probably cares about this, but we've talked about it so many times here that I feel like I owe you the justice to tell you this.
Mhm.
So 3 days last week, Nick, we had 100+ degree days, 90s up until the 100 to feel like temperatures were.
Yeah.
Those were miserable, weren't they?
They were not fun by any stretch of the imagination. The humidity was so high.
So Tuesday, I had central air. Woke up Wednesday morning with no central air. Now, if you know me, I love my central air, and I cannot live without central air.
Mm-hmm.
I lived a day without central air, and I don't know how you do entire summers of it. I have no idea how you're capable of doing it, because, and it's not like I can't handle the heat. I work out in the heat 8 hours a day, but once I'm home, I can't handle it. So I know my way around a central air unit quite well, because I have a bunch of them at work, have one at home, obviously, and I could not get it fixed. So that just ticked me off to start my Wednesday morning.
Mm-hmm.
So called the repairman, and they informed me they won't be there until 7 o'clock at night Wednesday.
Ooh.
So that means from 3:30 in the afternoon Wednesday to 7 p.m., I had no central air.
You poor soul.
I will, no, you know what? If that ever happens again, they will be called that very minute, and I will pull the emergency card on them and say, this is an emergency. I'm on oxygen. I need it.
Not sure if that's the best solution to that, but all right.
Don't do that, people. That's illegal. Don't do that.
Yeah, no. Bad advice.
But 4 hours at my house, no central air.
See, this is why
it will never happen again.
This is why I make fun of you for your central air situation, because yes,
$300 later, well worth it.
Because here's the thing, yes, like on one hand, having that central air, like I've been in buildings with central air before, so I know what it's like. I've experienced it, never actually lived with it, but I've experienced it, and it's very nice. Don't get me wrong. But if that central air goes out, you're completely screwed until you can get it fixed. You were lucky enough to be able to get it fixed that day,
because we're a member, because we're smart people.
Yeah, but
if you weren't a member, I would still want to have it.
In some cases, you might not be able to get it fixed in that day, and then you're stuck for multiple days with absolutely no chance of air conditioning at all.
Nick, those are words that I used to say before I was a central air enthusiast.
I mean, I guess the way to negate the problem of it breaking would be to have a window unit in reserve.
No.
But,
Absolutely not. Window units, they are the biggest waste of money.
I love them.
No, they are the biggest waste of money, because you figure a window unit on average, they're each $300. Okay, so you have a 4-bedroom house, you got to get 4 of them for that house, for the bedrooms, and you have to get one for the living room and the kitchen. Okay, that's 6 right there. Not counting anything else, 6 times 3, that's $900 right there.
Mhm.
And then, every few years, I mean, they the bed, let's be honest, they don't last forever. They the bed, okay, $900 every 5 years. In 15 years, you just bought Central Air.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. I don't know.
I was talking to a friend and I told her when I build my house and every house I live in, I will spend any money it takes to get Central Air put in a house.
Like, here's my thing. Like, you say you have to replace them about every 5 years, but I can safely tell you that I don't think any of the AC units at my house are under 10 years old. I think all of
You're
them
just
are
lucky.
15 to 20, and we have like 4 different window units, and they're all over 10 years old. Um,
Okay, but do you actually use them or do you use
we use them quite a bit. I know I use mine on a regular basis, and that one is, the one in my room is probably about 15, 20 years old, and it's been dropped out of a second story window.
I refuse to accept your argument as valid.
Just won't budge, huh?
No.
Hmm.
And you know what? One day you will live with Central Air and you will understand where I'm coming from. Anyone that lives with Central Air right now, we are spending way too much time on this Central Air thing, but anyone that lives with Central Air right now can 120% agree with me. I would bet my life savings on it that Central Air is 3,000 times better of an investment than window units. Window units actually decrease your home value, and Central Air increases your home value. There's your little real estate fun fact for the day. And Central Air is 10 times more comfortable than window units.
I don't know. I don't know.
You'll know someday. And you know what? When that someday comes and we're dealing with 100 and, feel like temperatures of 105, I'm going to ask you and you're going to agree with me. And I'll be like, told you.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see down the
Oh,
line,
no.
and we'll report it here when that day
Oh,
comes.
no. You know what? When that day comes, if you tell me that it's not better, get out. You're out of the house.
You're gonna kick me
You can
out.
you can go next door to the other house and you can deal with the 100-degree weather and I will buy you one window unit and we'll see if that changes your mind.
Oh God. Okay. Okay. Fair enough.
Now moving into slightly less depressing news of my Central Air breaking, we got some wedding news. It's Monday, and anyone that knows, there for a while we were doing Talk of the Talk. Well, Talk of the Talk had to go, and I came up with the Zoom debate because if you don't know, me and Nick are currently working over Zoom for various reasons, but I will pick something that will be debated because I know that me and Nick will never ever agree on these things. And if we do agree, it will probably be today because I said that.
Probably, but we'll find out.
So picture a destination wedding, Nick.
Okay.
A beautiful, glorious destination wedding.
All right.
You're getting married. No, in sake of argument, I'm getting married in Jamaica. We're in New York. I invite you to the wedding, right? You
Okay.
RSVP to this wedding. You say
Mhm.
you're going to go. Well, come to find out, you don't show up. Okay? Nick doesn't show up to my wedding.
I don't show up to your wedding. What a bad friend.
You know what I do in return? I
What's
send you
it?
a bill.
Okay.
Now, this actually happened. A couple got married, had a destination wedding in Jamaica. Someone did not show up. Two people did not show up, and they sent them an invoice for that of $240.
Oh my
Now, this
God.
is a very real invoice. It says invoice date 8/18/21, due date 9/18/21. And it says no call, no show, guest. Service, wedding, reception, dinner, no show. $120 per unit. The quantity is 2 for a grand total of $240. Simple math, right?
Okay.
In the notes, it says this invoice is being sent to you because you confirmed seats at the wedding reception during the final head count. The amount above is the cost of your individual seats because you didn't call or give us proper notice that you wouldn't be in attendance. This amount is what you owe for us paying for your seats in advance. You can pay via Zelle or PayPal. Please reach out to us and let us know which method of payment works for you. Thank you. And then subtotal 240, total 240, amount paid 0, balance due 240. Now, in my opinion, they were very generous and didn't charge tax. So, Nick, I want to know, where do you stand on this? Is that okay to send an invoice to no-shows?
Now, I think they got the circumstances correct on this one. Because if it's a call ahead, like if they called ahead,
We both agree. Of course.
like even like okay, if they call ahead, like way ahead, then definitely no bill. You know, if they call ahead and you know way ahead of time, then there you go. Problem taken care of. Even if they call on short notice, like a day before or something, I'd feel very iffy about sending the bill. That's something I'd probably be on the fence for because yeah, it is very short notice. And at that point, you're kind of like expecting them to be there, obviously. But it's still tough for me on that. But if you don't call and just don't show up, yeah, no, why not send them the bill?
Okay, so here's my thoughts, my opinions on this
Mhm.
one.
Yeah.
If it's a destination wedding and you don't show up, because you think about it, destination weddings, they're not cheap. Any wedding
No.
in general is not cheap.
No.
Destination weddings, you're paying generally for airfare, you're paying for the food, you're paying for all this, and then you're a no-show? That would tick me right off. I would be
Right.
happily to send you a bill, and you know what? I would include tax.
Because you're just that kind of person.
Mhm.
No,
And this has actually got great, very mixed reactions
I'm
on
sure.
social media.
I'm sure.
One person said, I remain stunned that more people don't say, quote, hey, instead of a gift, we'd love for you to celebrate our day with us. Can you chuck in $50 or whatever for the dinner and drinks with
Mhm.
your RSVP and we'll call it even? Maybe I'm naive. Why don't people do this? Okay. So that's one person's opinion. I don't really know where they fall on that, but I mean, I guess that's a valid point.
Yeah.
And then someone screenshotted the bill and said, I'd send it back right away. And it showed a picture of the middle finger and LOL.
Mhm.
Another person said, that is tasteless. If you cannot absorb or factor in no-shows, then don't have it. Simple. And then this person said $240 is a lot to waste. If there's not proper excuse for no showing, they owe them people some money. So very mixed reaction. Someone said, now this is petty. It's not about being able to afford it. It's about the principle. I had this done to me, and I think it's highly disrespectful to RSVP yes to a wedding and just not show. So much time, effort, and money goes into a wedding. It's unfair.
Yeah, and I as we're sitting here and you were reading the reactions and everything, I do think there are other circumstances and different situations where where my opinion on this would fall. Like if it's immediate family and you know that something could have come up at the very last minute where they couldn't have, told you or anything. All right, fair. It still sucks, but billing immediate family for something, like that, it wouldn't sit right with me. It wouldn't hit right in my morals. But like destination weddings, especially like you said, they're expensive. They're extremely expensive. And so for someone to just not show, I mean, I can definitely understand sending a bill for that. However, being the person receiving the bill, you read the reaction that basically gave the middle finger and everything. That's pretty much the response you're going to get. I can't really think of anyone that would be willing to just like straight up pay for that. that I can think of anyway.
So you're saying you wouldn't pay for it?
I, I don't know. I don't know.
See, if I got that bill in the mail, depending on how I felt about the person, I would
Yeah.
either spend $240 in Monopoly money, or I would pay the bill. Because I might be like, you know what, they are right. It's not right that I didn't show up. I should pay for it. And then on the other hand, I might be like, I didn't show up for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, if it's someone that I'm not entirely close to, or I'm
And you
not
should
really,
RSVP now.
yeah, I mean, if you have the opportunity to either say no, or if you had the opportunity to let them know, hey, I'm not going to be there, do it. Like, don't, if you have the opportunity to let them know, don't just let it hang up in the air like that.
So, final verdict, Nick. Would you send someone that didn't show up to your destination wedding? Would you send them a bill for $240?
Again, I think it's very circumstantial. If they're immediate family, probably not. If there's someone more distant that I'm not entirely close to or something like that, yeah, probably.
Okay, here's my answer. I don't care who you are. You RSVP, yes. You're getting a bill if you don't show up. And I won't even expect it to be paid. I would just send it.
Just
to be
send
like,
it to send
yeah,
it.
I noticed you
Yeah.
didn't show up.
Yeah.
So that's my opinions.
Because if you send it, there's probably like an 85% chance you're not getting that payment.
I would say 90%.
Yeah.
90, I would even probably say probably close to 100. Very close to 100.
I'll leave that, 85, like I'll leave that 15 to 10% open. Just because, I feel like there are some people that would be willing to pay it, or that, would just to nullify the situation. But
okay, well, that is the Zoom debate for this week. Let us know on Twitter. What do you think? Should have a bill been sent, or should there not have been a bill sent? I'm really curious what everyone has to say on this, because I think people are very divided on the topic.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the comments and everything from that you were just reading and the other ones that are there, it's definitely a mixed bag of different responses and thoughts and opinions, and I can understand why there would be that mix. And so it's a fun little topic.
So getting into the news, usually every Monday we have a COVID-19 update, but this week there will be no update due to the large amount of COVID news that we have to report on just in general. Starting out with COVID, the federal government now says COVID-19 boosters will be available to those who are already fully vaccinated against COVID-19. But you can't just run out today and get one of these shots. There is a process. First, understand the Surgeon General says if you are currently fully vaccinated, you're still protected against severe cases of COVID-19 and death. However, because of the nature of the Delta variant and the anticipation of variants that could come in the future, studies show immunity starts to weaken among mild and moderate cases of COVID-19. The vaccine will still give very strong protection against severe cases of COVID or death. And the next thing you need to know is none of these boosters will be given until the FDA and the CDC first amend the emergency use authorization for both Pfizer and Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine.
Now, the CDC is still studying whether boosters will be required for those who got the Johnson & Johnson one-dose vaccine. The CDC does say that it is likely there will be a booster for Johnson & Johnson as well. So when can you get the booster? Well, for those who fall into the very specific category of people that are immunocompromised, they can already get the booster at this time. But for everyone else, you'll most likely start being able to get a booster after September 20th. You shouldn't just run out on that day and get the shot, though. The Surgeon General says that you should wait 8 months after your final dose. An example of this is if your last shot was on March 1st, you should get your shot around November 1st.
Speaking of the vaccine, it is official now that the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine is now fully approved by the FDA in ages 16 and up. Now, this opens up the possibility for more government agencies, schools, and private companies mandating a vaccine as a requirement to be employed by them. The FDA made the approval announcement early last week, saying, quote, "While this and other vaccines have met the FDA's rigorous scientific standards for emergency use authorization as the first FDA-approved COVID-19 vaccine, the public can be very confident that this vaccine meets the high standards for safety, effectiveness, and manufacturing quality that the FDA requires of its approved products." The Pfizer vaccine has been approved under emergency use authorization since December 2020, so this full approval, as we discussed several times, has been in the works and the studies for months now. As for kids ages 12 to 15, the Pfizer emergency use authorization still stands, and the FDA wants to see extended data for this group, along with data to determine the possibility of vaccine use in kids even younger.
Since the approval, the U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin said the military is now mandating the vaccine for all service members. Originally, the secretary said the vaccine would be mandatory by mid-September or as soon as it received full approval from the FDA. The military mandate for the Pfizer vaccine rollout is being discussed with military commanders at this time. For the record, Disney, United Airlines, Google, Facebook, Walmart, and McDonald's, just to name a few, have mandated the vaccine to keep employment with them. Of course, the medical and religious exemption still stands as well. Also, just to remind you, the private sector has wide discretion in setting conditions for workers and customers. Businesses actually have a legal duty of keeping the workplace safe. Federal courts around the country and even the Supreme Court have repeatedly sided with the vaccine mandates.
Now that we have talked about the full approval of the vaccine and that the information has been given in great detail, let's talk about this so-called, quote, "it's just an extension of the EUA." Well, it's not. I know you all must be looking at the letter from the FDA's website titled, quote, "LOA to issue with BLA approval," end quote, from the FDA to Pfizer. What does this title even mean? LOA means letter of authorization, and BLA means biologicals license application. And so that means the letter of authorization issued to Pfizer, the approval, their biologics license application. Now that the title makes sense, let's explain some of the areas of confusion in the letter itself. On page 2, it clearly says, quote, "On August 23rd, 2021, the FDA approved a biologicals license application, BLA, submitted by Biotech Manufacturing GmbH for Comirnaty COVID-19 vaccine mRNA for active immunization to prevent COVID-19 cases caused by SARS-CoV-2 individuals 16 years of age and older."
So what does this mean exactly? That is the actual approval of the vaccine for those ages 16 and up.
And here is where most people are getting confused. On the same page, the next paragraph, it says, quote, "The EUA will remain in place for the Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine for the previously authorized indication and uses, and to authorize use of Comirnaty COVID-19 vaccine mRNA under the EUA for certain uses that are not included in the approved BLA," end quote.
So let's be honest, that's quite a loaded sentence and it says a lot. What it essentially means when they say certain uses that are not included in this approved BLA, they are talking about the emergency use authorization the FDA already gave to Pfizer back in May to be able to give this vaccine to those ages 12 to 15. The letter technically does two things. First, it grants full approval of the Pfizer vaccine to people 16 and older. And it also extends the emergency use authorization for vaccine use for those age 12 to 15 years old. Full approval for that group is still being considered while more data is being collected.
Then on page 12, section Y, it says, quote, all descriptive printed matter, advertising, and promotional material relating to the use of the Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine clearly and conspicuously shall state that, end quote. Yes, that is confusing as well, but if you kept on reading the paragraphs around it, starting with section Y, it states, this product has not been approved or licensed by the FDA, but has been authorized for emergency use by FDA under an EUA to prevent coronavirus disease 2019 COVID-19 for use in individuals 12 years of age and older, and the emergency use of this product is only authorized for the duration of the declaration that circumstances exist justifying the authorization of emergency use of the medical product under section 564B1 of the FD&C Act unless the declaration is terminated or authorization revoked sooner, end quote.
This explains the rules of advertising for this vaccine and how the labels must be printed. It goes on to say that the label for the vaccine must say that it is still under emergency use authorization for ages 12 to 15. Then, if you read section... Oh, okay, that's yours.
Then if you read section AA, it says, quote, can't read it because I can't zoom in. Comirnaty COVID-19 vaccine mRNA is now licensed for individuals 16 years of age and older. There remains, however, a significant amount of Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine that was manufactured and labeled in accordance with this emergency use authorization. This authorization thus remains in place with respect to the product for the previously authorized indication and uses, i.e., for use to prevent COVID-19 in individuals 12 years of age and older with a 2-dose regimen and to provide a 3rd dose to individuals 12 years of age or older who have undergone solid organ transplants or who are diagnosed with conditions that are considered to have an equivalent level of immunocompromisation, end quote.
Okay. On the very first line, it says Comirnaty is now licensed for individuals 16 years of age and older. AA then goes on to explain that there are millions of vaccine vials in coolers in the country not used yet without the updated labeling. The vials all say the Pfizer vaccine is authorized for emergency use authorization, which is now only partially correct. When you put sections Y, AA, and BB together in context, it says that doctors and pharmacists can still use those vials even though the labeling is incorrect.
Another area of confusion with the full approval of the Pfizer vaccine from the FDA is, why does the Pfizer vaccine have such a weird name? Since the name has changed, many people are now saying it's a different vaccine. It's not even available yet. Well, hate to break it to you, but that would be incorrect. The new name for the Pfizer vaccine is called Comirnaty. First, no, this is not a new vaccine. It's the same Pfizer vaccine that has been given to millions of people across the country.
Here is why it has a new name in the US. Manufacturers are not allowed to market or release commercials for drugs or vaccines until they are fully approved by the FDA. Then, when that happens, manufacturers usually pick a new name. The Pfizer vaccine's technical name is capital BNT 162 lowercase b2. As you can tell, that doesn't necessarily just roll off the tongue. That is why Pfizer has decided to combine the words COVID-19, mRNA, community, and immunity to form the word community.
In other news away from COVID-19, the Biden administration has decided to announce student loan forgiveness, but it's only for a specific group of people. According to the Department of Education, 320,000 federal student loans borrowers who are fully and permanently disabled will have their student loan debt canceled. That amounts to roughly $5.8 billion in student loan debt forgiven. Those who are fully and permanently disabled have actually had the ability to apply and be granted for federal student loan forgiveness since the 1960s. But the process has slowed way down over the years, and this move streamlines it significantly.
So, how do you know if you are getting the forgiveness? Well, the Social Security Administration already knows who you are. There's an existing database, and this forgiveness will automatically happen based off of that database, beginning with the September quarterly match. So if you're already identified, you don't need to do anything. There is no application required. Those qualified borrowers will receive a notice of their student loan forgiveness from the Department of Education. You can expect the letter within weeks with the loan being forgiven, and all of the forgiveness will be completed by the end of 2021. All the federal student loan forgiveness will be free from federal income tax, but you may have some state income tax implications with all of this. As for everyone else, the president has says Congress needs to pass a bill canceling any student loan debts. His Department of Justice is currently looking into if his administration can cancel any of it, and so far they say that no, they cannot.
In exactly 1 week, your federal pandemic-related unemployment benefits will come to an end. Experts say this will affect about 11 million people. The American Rescue Stimulus Law extended the PEUC and PUA unemployment benefits until September 6th. But because of the way unemployment is paid out and depending on your state, your last check could come September 4th or 5th. More than a dozen states have ended these pandemic-related benefits back in June and July. For everyone else, if you live in a state where you are still receiving those benefits, even though you were self-employed or long-term unemployed, or are not generally eligible to receive unemployment benefits, and you are still getting the extra $300 a month from the federal government, that is all going to be coming to an end, regardless if you still have weeks left on your unemployment benefits.
If you still have a balance left on your state benefits, only those will continue along with work search requirements. Each person only gets a certain number of weeks of unemployment benefits per year, and once it's over, it's over. Each state has a different number of weeks of eligibility, so you need to check on what your state has. The only way these unemployment benefits will be extended is if Congress passes a new law, and at this point, there is zero movement on that, not to mention both chambers of Congress are on recess past the September 6th deadline.
If you are relying on the federal eviction moratorium to keep you in your home, it's over. The Supreme Court struck down the Biden administration's extension on the moratorium. We actually said this was to be expected back when the president extended the moratorium on August 3rd. The Supreme Court said the CDC overstepped its authority to issue the moratorium in the first place, and if the Biden administration wanted to continue, they would have to go through Congress to make that happen.
At this point, Congress is on recess at least until late September, and there is no real movement by lawmakers to create any new legislation to extend the eviction moratorium any further. What does this mean for renters? Well, it means your landlord can immediately start the eviction process for non-payment of rent. It also means you will be responsible for all that back rent that you haven't paid. It is possible your state or county has some sort of eviction moratorium or other type of protection for you, but you need to check your state or county website to find out.
The House of Representatives voted straight down party lines last week to take another step towards passing both the $3.5 trillion human infrastructure and the $1.2 trillion bipartisan traditional infrastructure bill. We are so very far from the finishing line now. The House and the Senate are both on recess, but starting the first week of September, the House and Senate committee leaders will begin what is called marking up the $3.5 trillion package. Basically, what that means is they will start figuring out specifically how all that money is going to be spent on each program. And then they will write the budget reconciliation bill. The president's proposed American Families Plan that is now being called Human Infrastructure includes a lot of programs that we have detailed in the past. So if you are wondering what is in that bill, go check out our last news episode. The bill text for this needs to be completed by September 15th, and the House and Senate return from recess on September 20th.
The $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure plan will go up for a vote in the House on September 27th. So somewhere between the 20th and the 27th, they need to take up both bills and deal with the budget reconciliation bill. We know Democrats will need to use the budget reconciliation bill political maneuver to pass this human infrastructure bill with only Democrat votes. There are 0 Republican votes for it, and they also aren't the only ones with concerns over this. Some moderate Democrats have concerns too, so experts believe it will be much smaller than it currently is.
Getting into rapid news, there was a bombing at Kabul's airport that left 13 military members dead. And our very own Nick has a full report on what is the latest on the evacuation in Afghanistan available on Medium right now. Check the link down in the show notes.
Judge John Cooper rules that schools in Florida can require masks, overturning Governor Ron DeSantis's executive order.
50% of children between the ages 12 to 17 have at least received 1 dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Nick, what do you have for our return of Good News Monday?
All right. So this was a story that came out a couple weeks ago, but it's something that we hadn't gotten on here on the show yet, and it just needs to be talked about. So there was a Polish javelin Olympic athlete by the name of Maria Andrzejczyk who decided to put her silver medal, her silver Tokyo Olympic medal, up for auction. Now, why did she do this? Okay. There was a little boy, 8 months old, who needed a major heart surgery. He needed to be flown to the US. And so they needed to raise funds because this is a very expensive thing to happen, to fly to the US to have the heart surgery done, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the goal that the family had set was $346,000. Well, Andrzejczyk put her medal up for auction because she had gone through bone cancer, so she knows what it's like to go through something major like that, and she wanted to help in any way she could. She asked for $190,000. That was her goal, $190,000. Well, a convenience store chain by the name of Zabka actually won the auction. And in fact, they went over the goal. They paid more than the $190,000 that Andrzejczyk was asking for. But it goes beyond that, because they actually allowed her to keep her medal. They didn't take it. She kept her medal and they still paid the money. So they paid basically $200,000 and didn't even take the thing that they were paying for. They decided to give the money for the operation. They wanted to contribute in any way they could. And they appreciated the spirit of Andrzejczyk and everything that she was doing. So they donated that money. She kept the medal. And at this point, or at least when the article was written, they were under $100,000 away from reaching the goal that they had originally set.
This is a great story. I saw this story, a brief part of it, and it's a really good story because, like Nick said, the goal was $346,000 for heart surgery in the United States. Now, if you don't know this, heart surgery without insurance, let alone probably a very high-profile case like this, is going to cost a lot of money. And I'm sure $346,000 is not the entire cost of this surgery. I would guarantee you that part of it is pro bono for this convenience store to bid on it $200,000 and then tell the athlete that was willing to give her gold medal away to keep her medal and still give $200,000 and leave $146,000 left. I mean, $200,000 right there takes a huge dent out of it, and the athlete got to keep her silver medal. That is like a double good news story in my eyes.
It's just the compassion and the willingness to go this extra mile from everyone's end is just absolutely insane. And another piece to this too is that there was another family going through a very similar situation, had a young child who needed a major surgery, who needed to go to the US. Unfortunately, that child didn't make it in time. And that family gave the funds that they were able to get together to this family who is still fighting, who still has the chance to save their child. And so just the compassion all around from that family, from Andrzejczyk to Zabka, just through and through, one of the most heartwarming stories I think we've had on here.
I love that. Yes, that's wow. So that's like a 3-time good news story, Nick. That's a you came back 3 times swinging for our return. You missed 2 good news stories. You came back with 3 to make up for yourself.
I knew that we had to start off. We had to come back with a bang. And I found this story, and it was just absolutely perfect. And it made me smile from the moment I started reading, and it still makes me smile now talking about it. So I figured, perfect story to come back with on this Monday morning, with the new setup, with the new brand, the BBP News. We're here and we're not going anywhere.
I love that. Great good news story. Like I said, that is the end of this Monday morning news episode. Make sure you follow us on BBP News on Twitter for the latest 24-hour breaking news, so you are always in the know. Follow us on our personal accounts to see what we are up to, and check out our Medium articles. We always discuss topics that we do not get a chance to discuss here on the podcast until Wednesday morning's dumb law. Have a great start to your week, everybody.
Bye, everyone.